Hi, my name is Pie Guy. In today's video, I'll be remaking Asteroids in 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and 2 hours. Asteroids is a game made by the college student Ed Logs and released in November 1979. After playing Space Wars in a research lab, he joined Atari. Then, with the inspiration of Space Invaders, made Asteroids, a vector-based, button-only using arcade game that took the world by storm due to its simple 4-button controls: rotate left, rotate right, thrust forward, shoot, beautiful vector graphics rather than the norm of raster pixel ones, and its friction/accelerating controls. With all that said, let's see just how far I can get making this game in 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and 2 hours. To start off, for the 10-minute run, I'll make the asteroid class since it was the easiest thing to do. Simply put, an asteroid is an object that continuously moves in one direction and teleports when it goes off screen. I quickly made the x and y variable as well as the velocity one. Since this is my first time doing a time towel, you can see me struggle. Next, I made the moving and drawing functions. Then I added the asteroids to the main file. First the list to track all of them, and created a for loop for the first asteroids to appear at the start of the game. An asteroid spawns by picking either the left or right side between the top and bottom of the screen, and with its x and y val being either both positive, both negative, or completely different. Added a list of asteroids to the main draw function and gave each asteroid a random speed and tested my program. Nice, the asteroids spawn in and move continuously every single direction. Next, I added the teleport part of the asteroid move function. While asteroids do spawn off screen, I put the teleporter further away, in this case, double the width of the asteroid. This way, the teleportation looks seamless. Then I ran the program. Perfect. With a little time remaining, I made the player character, yet all I could do is make a simple rectangle and have it move around. No shooting just yet. At the moment, the asteroid clone had no player, no bullets, no nothing. Just asteroids teleporting around the screen. Let's hope I can make more with more time. For 30 minutes, I decided to work on the bullets. First, I made the class, and as usual, the x, y, x velocity, y velocity variables. I then made the draw function just like the asteroid class. I made a list to house all the bullets and then added the bullet class in the main file of the game. Then I added the key inputs to shoot out a bullet. Understanding my limited time, rather than have the bullets shoot out in a rotating direction, I had them shoot from either the left, right, top, or bottom of the player. I added the list to the main draw function and tested it out. Okay, now it works. You notice the bullets are red instead of white. That's because I thought at first that's how the original game had them. I went back to the asteroid class and had a collision with the bullets. But now when a bullet and collision asteroid collide, they both disappear rather than the asteroid splitting like the original. After another test, I realized that the bullets spawned too quickly, so I added a timer to slow them down. Then I moved the asteroid and bullet collision to the main file, hoping it would be easy to change the logic in the future, i.e. the splitting and making a new asteroid logic. At first, when doing the splitting, I had 2 new asteroids made, not realizing that 1 is too many and 2, it's unnecessary. I then made the asteroid size random on spawn in asteroid class. Now the asteroids are much bigger. I also had the new and old asteroids be half the size of the original that was hit. Now if an asteroid is hit, it will only disappear if it's small enough. If if it's too big, then it'll make a clone of itself going in a new direction. Okay, let's test and then move on to 2 hours. For 2 hours, I knew I'd have more time to learn, so before the timer started, I made a list of things I wanted to do. I wanted to add collision between player and asteroid, have the player teleport increase its speed. All asteroids start off big with low speed, and as they get hit, they get smaller, faster speed. Player bullet is white like the original game. Add live system and a menu system. Score, better player movement like the original, the UFO enemies, and where after a while new asteroids can appear as well. After quickly messing around, I changed the bullet's color to white like in the original game, then added a new variable called pval, so now all the player inputs will be faster and the speed will be controlled by one variable. All asteroids now start big and increase speed after being shot. I created a new variable called player lives and set it to 3. I also made more variables to track if the player had been hit by an asteroid and how long it will be hit again. They can be hit again, aka iframes. Then I added player lives to the draw function. After making a new method, aka function, I can now draw the player sprite and the player lives in it. I decided the best way to display the player lives is with a cube for every life the player has, although originally I was going to do a text displaying the number of lives rather than rectangles. There was a problem where the program wouldn't run because something was off with the draw function. It took me a whole while to realize it was because I forgot a comma between player lives and bullets. At first, the space between the rectangles representing the player lives were too close, so I had to change it. I also made it where the player gets hit when they respawn back in the middle of the screen, with iframes of course. Since I don't have a menu for now, when the player dies the whole game just closes. I then added teleport function. Basically, if the player goes too far off screen in any direction, they teleport to the negative side, just like all the other objects in the game do, besides the bullets. I also commented each if statement so I didn't know which is doing what. Next I want to add the score. A simple variable that starts at 0 is put into the draw function like everything else, and then finally the text function is put to screen. After finishing the score and adding the score as dependent on the size of asteroids, I went to work on the UFO class. I added the standard X and Y values as well as add a shooter variable to the bullet class, as I intend on having both UFOs and the player shoot for bullet, knowing as who the sender is. Whenever the player now shoots a bullet, it knows it was from the player and proceeds to finish the UFO class with the width, height, rectangle, etc. variables. I also intended to have two types of ship classes, like the original game, a straight moving randomly firing UFO and one that goes up and down directly targeting the player. I first made the straight part in the move function, then went to the main file to create a UFO spawning timer or one can either spawn as a straight UFO moving or a bouncy one. It is integral that the UFO knows where it is spawning, which is why I made a variable for it, the starting X variable, so it can continuously move in the opposite direction it spawned in. I added UFO list to the main draw function, but when I went to test it, it didn't work. Not only was it still, but the two ship parts were separate from one another. Spawning in a bunch of UFOs to test it, it still didn't work. After much troubleshooting, it wasn't until I realized that it was because I didn't add the move function to the UFO update function. Now it works. Next, I went to add the teleport to the UFO in the same manner as the asteroids in player. I also edited the asteroid size to better fit the teleportation. After that, I added comments to improve readability and the timer so asteroids can spawn in. New asteroids can only spawn in if the amount is less than 26, just like the original game. Unlike the original game, I made it so that if a bullet is hit, it gets hit 1 point. Then I set up having all objects get hit by a bullet and what to do next depending on who shot the bullet. I looked up how both UFOs work so I could better understand how to implement them. Upon researching, I tried adding the bounce UFO, but sadly to no avail, as the part where it aims at the player was too difficult of a challenge for me. After spending 20 minutes on an X out of list glitch, and when the player was dying by just shooting, I moved on to the menu. Now the game has two states. Game State 0 is the menu and is accessible on booting up the game, and Game State 1 is you actually playing the game. For the menu, I also added a title. Press play, and whenever you died, I reset certain values, and entry list to 0. Now I was done. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more. I'm thinking of doing more time-lapse videos in the future if this does well. This is Bye Guy, signing off.